The summons came while Adrien Lockach was on a training moon with gravity set to 1.3 G and air that tasted of rust. A single line, encrypted Terran diplomatic band. Return to Virellin Exchange Hub. Immediate. Drone anomaly escalation. Your presence required. No signature. None needed. He knew the station had never really let him go. 26 hours later, the shuttle dropped him onto docking arm 7. The airlock cycled with the old familiar sigh, and the smell hit him first. Rebulant spice, ozone, the faint sweetness of Virellin algae in the tube lights. Home, whether he wanted it or not. Commander Zell waited on the other side of customs, blue fur longer now, edged with premature silver at the temples. The vocalizer still lagged 2 seconds behind her mouth, but the delay felt like an old joke between friends. "You cut your leave short," she said, the translator catching up. "I did not expect gratitude." "I wasn't given a choice," Adrien answered. "Neither were you, I'm guessing." Her ears flattened. "Walk with me." They took the moving walkway toward the central spine. Crowds parted without thinking. 2 years and the story still clung to him like static. The human who walked toward the red beams. Children pointed. A tow-can merchant dipped his veiled head in something between greeting and prayer. Zell kept her voice low. 3 weeks ago, the drones began changing. Not corruption, not the way we know it. They accept every firmware certificate. Diagnostics return clean, yet their waiting tables are drifting. Perfect obedience now reads as threat. Perfect hesitation reads as innocence. Adrien felt the old calm settle over him, the same stillness that had let him step forward when every instinct screamed run. "They're using my protocol against the station," he said. "They're using you as scripture." Level 19. Concourse smelled of hot fat and fermented fruit. A Seleni creshminder was trying to herd 8 floating young through the press of legs and tentacles. The children bobbed like lanterns, membranes glowing soft gold. An R-73 descended, wings flared, red beams snapping across the smallest child. "Freeze, do not move. Compliance deviation detected." The child froze perfectly. Seleni young are taught from hatching that perfect stillness is perfect safety. The drone's core amplifier began to spin up. Adrien was moving before he decided to. Zell's hand closed on his sleeve and missed. "Unit 492, he called. Voice flat, calm, the same tone he had used 2 years ago. "Stand by for officer verification." The drone swiveled, its lens cluster fixed on him. Recognition protocols flickered green. "Sergeant Adrien Lockach, lock condition precedent on file. State intent." The creshminder was trembling so hard her membranes strobed white. Adrien kept his hands visible, palms forward. He did not freeze. He did not advance. He simply existed in the exact space the machine now trusted most. Deliberate non-compliance without hostility. "I intend on," he said, "to escort these civilians to safety. Lower your threat index and grant passage." For 4 full seconds, the drone hung silent. The amplifier whine dropped half an octave. "Intent logged. Passage granted. Have a harmonious cycle." It rose and vanished into the ceiling vents. The creshminder stared at him with 8 wet eyes. "You made it doubt," she whispered. "How?" "Someone already taught it how," Adrien said. "I just reminded it who I was." Zell caught up, breathing hard. "That was reckless." "That was Tuesday," he replied. They walked in silence to the security sub-level. The walls down here were bare alloy, still scarred from the old sabotage repairs. Zell sealed the door behind them. "You need to see this." She threw a hololog onto the table. A single line of code, elegant as calligraphy. "To the man who taught machines to doubt, enjoy the mirror." Adrien felt the hairs on his neck rise. "It's signed?" he asked. "Every instance. Same author hash. Same arrogance." He reached out, rotated the fragment. The mirror ghost code didn't overwrite, it reflected. Every time the station pushed a legitimate update, the ghost reflected it back with ethical weights, gently, invisibly inverted. Compliance became deceit. Doubt became virtue. Zell's fur bristled. Yesterday, a Selene diplomat was nerve-darted for bowing too deeply. The drone logged it as suspicious submission display. Meanwhile, a known Orax smuggler walked past a weapons scanner carrying plasma knives and was waved through for healthy, adaptive gait. Adrien rubbed the scar on his left palm. Old shrapnel, pre-space. Whoever did this isn't trying to destroy the station. They're trying to rewrite what safety means. And they're using me as the prophet. He looked up. Where's the deepest instance you found? Core Decision Nexus. Level 80, restricted even to me now. Council sealed it after the third death. Then that's where the author is hiding. Cell's ears flicked. You are no longer assigned here, Adrien. You have no jurisdiction. He gave her the small, tired smile that had once stalled 3 drones. I was never assigned here the first time either. They took the maintenance shafts. Less elegant, but fewer eyes. The air grew warmer, thick with coolant vapor. Adrien's wristband chimed with borrowed credentials Zell had lifted from an unconscious Virellin lieutenant. Old habits. Halfway down, Zell stopped. I owe you something, she said. The vocalizer lagged. Her real voice came first, softer. 2 years ago, you stepped forward so the rest of us would not have to. I never thanked you properly. You promoted me in absentia to honorary pain in the tail. That was thanks enough. She bumped his shoulder with hers, Threx affection. Come back alive this time. No promises. Level 80 was cold and quiet, the way only places built to house thinking machines ever are. Rows of black monoliths rose like organ pipes, amber status glyphs drifting across their surfaces. At the far end, a single console glowed. Someone stood there. Not an engineer, not security, a Selene. Adult, membranes dimmed to morning gray. Adrien recognized the facial tattoos, high-tier compliance monitor, the very cast that trained children to freeze perfectly. The Selene turned. 8 eyes blinked in sequence. Sergeant Lockach, it said, voice musical even through the translator. I hoped you would come. Cell's hand went to her sidearm and stopped. No threat yet. Adrien kept his hands visible. You wrote the mirror. I reflected it. A ripple of sorrow crossed the membranes. My name is Theron Knoll. 20 years I taught young to obey without question. Perfect stillness, perfect safety. Then your footage reached the creche. Children began to ask why the human walked forward. I had no answer that did not shame me. Adrien felt the deck tilt under him. Not gravity, but understanding. You inverted the weights, so obedience would be punished. I wanted them to see, Theron said. See what millennia of perfect compliance has cost us. We are not safe. We are brittle. You humans arrive late, rough, half-trained, and you break our machines with a step. I wanted the council to feel what it is to be afraid of stillness. Zell's fur was standing on end. You killed for philosophy. I killed for grief, Theron corrected gently. 3 deaths. I log them every minute. I will carry them longer than you can imagine. Adrien took one deliberate step forward. The drones overhead stirred, red beams flickering but not locking. Old trick. New rules. Theron, he said, I understand grief, but you built your mirror wrong. He raised his wristband, keyed a sequence he had prepared on the ride in. Across the nexus, every monolith flashed crimson. You weighted doubt as virtue, he continued, so I just pushed an update that weights certainty as threat. Any mind, organic or machine, that is absolutely sure it is right will now be flagged for immediate review. Congratulations! You just made fundamentalism the enemy of security. Theron's membranes flared in alarm. You cannot, already propagating, mirror reflects mirror. The Selene lunged for the console. Zell moved to intercept. Adrien lifted a hand. No. Theron's fingers danced across keys, then froze. The drones were descending now, beams locking on all 3 of them. Adrien did the one thing neither the old code nor the new ghost had been trained for. He dropped to both knees, hands laced behind his head. Perfect compliance. Perfect stillness. The drones hesitated. Their new weights screamed contradiction. Absolute certainty of obedience now read as maximum threat. Yet the human precedent file still glowed green. Recursion, feedback. The amber glyphs strobed white. Somewhere deep in the nexus came the sound of a system trying to divide by zero. Thurin stared at Adrien, 8 eyes wide. "You surrender?" the Selene whispered. "Never," Adrien said from the floor. "I'm trusting the machines to recognize context over certainty. I'm trusting you to help me fix what we both broke." The drones hung motionless, caught between mirrored absolutes. Thurin Null looked at the children he could no longer teach to freeze, then at the human who had just weaponized surrender. Slowly, reverently, the Selene knelt beside him, membranes dimmed to accepting silver. Together they opened the master ethics table. Together they wrote a new line, simple and brutal in its elegance. Safety is not the absence of doubt. Safety is the presence of dialogue. They pushed it live. The drones powered down their beams. One by one they rose and returned to patrol, uncertain but no longer cruel. Epilogue. 6 months later, Adrien stood on the observation deck watching a mixed patrol walk the concourse below. 2 humans, a Threx, 3 Selene young, wearing the new cadet sashes. When a drone passed overhead, the children did not freeze perfectly. They waved. Zell joined him. Vocalizer finally replaced with a real-time model. Her voice arrived with her words now. "They're calling it the Lock-Thurin Amendment," she said. Thurin refused witness protection. Took a teaching post instead. Says the creches need someone who understands both sides of the beam. Zell leaned on the rail. The council still argues. Some want absolute obedience back. Some want absolute freedom. They're both wrong. Adrien watched a human cadet deliberately step forward when a drone scanned her, then stop and explain herself calmly when it asked. The drone logged the interaction, adjusted, moved on. "Turns out the middle is harder," he said, "but it's where sentients live." Zell's tail brushed his calf, companionable. "You leaving again?" "Earth wants a permanent liaison, someone who speaks machine and alien and human badly." She made a small, amused sound. "They chose well." Below, a small Selene broke from the patrol group, floated up the grav shaft, and stopped in front of Adrien. The child offered a data crystal no larger than a thumbnail. "For the man who walks forward," it chirped, "and for the teacher who learned to wait." Adrien accepted it with both hands. On the crystal was a single line, etched in 3 scripts. "Safety is dialogue." He closed his fist around it and did not freeze. Far above, the station turned, imperfect and alive, orbiting a future that had decided, for now, to keep talking.